Gosh, I went through a lot when I watched Roofman, this film starring Channing Tatum and Kirsten Dunst. It's a film about Jeffrey, who all he wants is to have a family. He's been alone and he doesn't want to be alone anymore. He just wants to provide. But every corner that he turns, he can't do that. Something inside of him keeps getting in the way. Something inside of him causes him to get in trouble. So that's what this movie is really about. We follow Jeffrey early on in the film. We see that he is in trouble because he can't provide for his family. His wife has left him with her 3 kids. So she's a single mom because his situation, he can't get his act together. And he moves through and he tries to win her acceptance, win back her love by buying things. And in order to buy things, he ends up actually robbing fast food restaurants and stores. And then he gets caught. After he gets caught, he is super divisive, finds a way to get out, and then he starts all over again. This film isn't about staying in Toys R Us or being a clever criminal. It's about chasing a dream. And Jeffrey's dream is to have a family. And so he runs into Lee, who is a single mother, wonderful woman, who's trying to make the best of her life. And he shows up for her and wins her heart and wins the heart of her children. He does this by buying things. And to buy things, again, he steals, not making the best choices. But ultimately, he's found out. And when he's found out, there's a reckoning where he has a choice to make. His choice is to go off and live a life in a foreign country, his freedom, or to have one more moment with the woman that he loves, to have one more moment where he's not alone. And that loneliness drives Jeffrey to be someone. That drives Jeffrey to be someone who can have a family in his mind, but we find out that it's unfortunately a setup. So Jeffrey's 5-second moment of change is actually at the very end of the movie after he gets caught. He realizes that he did everything he could. He went out of his way to buy all the stuff. He seems like the person who got happiness when he was a kid by his parents maybe buying things. They bought his happiness, and he was kind of replicating that in his adulthood. But he realizes when he's behind bars, he realizes that what people really want from him is his time. The people who love him want him in his presence, not the stuff that they can bring into his life. And as he's sitting there in jail, it seems to me that he actually realized that the way that he was living, the way that he was approaching his life was doing harm to the people that he loved. And he accepted that finally after his big downfall. He apologizes to Lee, and we can see that there's remorse and regret, but also acceptance of who he is. And he's not trying to escape anymore. He's not trying to chase those dreams that he used to have. He understands who he is and what he wants and what he needs in the rest of his life. So this film, for me, has great heart. My emotional response, my goodness, I saw Jeffrey trying and trying and trying, and this is something that I did in my youth. Not the criminal elements, but just trying to get love through acts of service, through buying things, right? But in reality, that is a short-sighted approach. And so I was able to attach and see him and see through his eyes that he was trying so hard, but always misguided. But what really got me was Lee. She's a person who was just trying to have a wonderful life for her and her children. And she gets caught up in this guy who seems wonderful, but she finds out that they're nothing but lies. That everything that this guy has done in her life is a lie. But we see actually her forgiveness at the end of it. She shares that Jeffrey, she accepts him. She forgives him as they're sitting in that very last scene at the prison speaking with each other. And that acceptance, that arc of Lee going from someone who's struggling to be a single mom, struggling to create a life for her daughters, to someone who has a relationship, a lot of fun with Jeffrey, to being destroyed when she realizes that Jeffrey is not who he says he is, and then to coming to terms with who this man is and forgiving him for what he did. So I felt really great, and I felt deeply attached to these two characters at different parts in the film, and I hope that this revealing to you uh, opens up something when you watch Roofman. See you next time.